Turned was an old game mode back in the glory days of Black Ops 2 Zombies that let a small team of players fight one zombie player. But each time the zombie player gets a kill, he turns another zombie. It's like a hardcore version of Infected. You can even play it in reverse gun game too, which was super awesome. This was one of my all-time favorite modes to play on the diner map, but sadly I haven't played this one in at least 8 years. Right next to Turned is Grief, which was also added back in Black Ops 2 and had 2 teams of 4, either CIA, CDC, prisoners, or guards, and they all indirectly fought each other. The goal was to find a way to get the other team killed. You could knife people to stun them, EMP their perks or box weapons to get rid of them, or you could try and push them off a ledge or into some zombies if you were clever. Or, if you were a pacifist, you could all just hold hands and play 8-player zombies. Grief was a fan favorite mode that unfortunately still has not returned even in 2024. If you're a real OG Zombies player, you might also remember the 8-player transit glitch you could do because of this. That was so awesome back in the day. Those were the first 2 of the over 12 different abandoned Zombies modes we're going to talk about today. Let me know if I forgot any in the comments. One of my all-time favorite forgotten modes is Rush, which was added in Black Ops 4. It was advertised as Zombie Rush, a mode for players who just wanted to drop into a match and shoot some zombies. It's a pretty small button hidden at the top of the screen, and you can't do any Easter eggs in it, so it's really no wonder that people forgot about it. But I actually think this is an amazing game mode. It's super fun and it's a great way to camo grind. You get lots of kills and your guns are still viable for a really long time, and you get loads of extra lives. Basically, you go around, you kill zombies, you collect points, you do little mini challenges that the game tells you to until you can't survive anymore. It's probably a lot more fun when you've got other people to compete with, but I'm kind of lonely, so I don't, but it's still kind of fun by yourself, you know? Treyarch never really updated this mode though, besides adding it to the new maps. You can see that because you still have only 150 health and not 200 like the other modes. If you haven't played Rush, go try it. It's super fun and I really wish it would come back. It was actually in the alpha build for Cold War, but there's a good chance it was just a leftover asset and it wasn't actually going to come back. Oh, and quick honorable mention here for Extinction. It isn't really zombies, but I'm going to give it a mention here anyway because I know somebody's going to get mad at me if I don't talk about Extinction. Gauntlet is a little more well known than Rush. In Gauntlet, you'd be given a challenge to do for every round up to 30 and you'd only have 3 lives. Once you lost all 3, game over, just like that, you gotta restart the whole thing. Every time you failed the challenge or you died, you would have to restart that round, so restart that challenge. You'd be a little bit more well prepared that time, but you would, you've lost a life, so it's a little bit harder. These are definitely interesting challenges and they're definitely worth a go, but it goes without saying that there were some big problems with this mode. Some of the challenges are only doable if you did the setup for them earlier, but they don't actually tell you the challenge until you get to that round. Treyarch definitely anticipated this though, because each round you get to, you unlock that challenge to see in your next games. So they knew about this and they do tell you, but personally I still think that's just a little bit lazy and it's kind of unfair, and it is one of the major drawbacks to this mode. We talked about 2 of the forgotten Black Ops 4 modes, but I'm gonna go ahead and put an F in chat here for all the other potential weekly game modes that Treyarch never delivered on for zombies. You all sounded amazing and are sorely missed. This one is one of those modes I can almost guarantee that you've never played. When you click on a map in Cold War, there's a round 20 button. Basically, it loads you into a public match that forces the exfil on round 20. That's it really, it's nothing special. You also can't really play this anymore because nobody's really queuing for it, so you just kind of end up searching forever. Not really a huge loss in my opinion, but it's just kind of one of those weird things that's there. Speaking of Cold War, Onslaught is definitely one of the most forgotten modes in this video. Cold War introduced the huge Outbreak mode that completely overshadowed Onslaught, but I've always really liked Onslaught. The other major killing factor of this mode though was that it was exclusive to only PlayStation for a whole year, so not until Vanguard came out did PC and Xbox players get to play this. But unfortunately by that time everyone was too busy crapping on Duran Fong to even pay attention that this thing existed. Onslaught though is sort of like an interesting custom zombies map in Black Ops 3. It allows you to play zombies on multiplayer maps, plain and simple. It's not quite as amazing as it sounds though, because there's no thematic elements or anything. There's no wall weapons or perk machines. Instead, everything is just drops from zombies on the floor. You follow around an orb and you kill zombies inside of it and it charges it up. Pretty simple. Treyarch actually made a few game modes for this. There's Containment, Mystery Munitions, and then there's Hardcore as well. Containment is my personal favorite. It's just like Onslaught, but it's on the tiny 2v2 gunfight maps, and you don't have to follow the circle around. You can just run around to your heart's content and play. Mystery Munitions and Hardcore are pretty self-explanatory though, and I don't think they're really worth mentioning as much as Containment is. Outbreak is very well remembered, but it did actually have a couple variants that aren't quite so well remembered. One of them is Survival, which is where you spawned in with a 1911, had no HUD or regenerating health, and you had to eat food drops off the floor to survive, like a rat. It was actually pretty cool, I thought, and it was kind of a fun new way to play. I hope they bring some of these elements back in the future, but it's kind of unlikely. One of the other modes in Outbreak was Collapse, which was basically the original MWZ, where you'd spawn in and you'd have 10 minutes to complete your objective and then exfil from the match. I think MWZ is a little bit better, but the proof of concept was there, and it's kind of cool that, you know, you can hop on and you can just have like a 10-minute zombies match. It's kind of interesting, you know. Nightmares is possibly one of the highest effort game modes in Call of Duty history. It took the Black Ops 3 campaign and remixed the levels and put zombies in them with a new story. I am a zombies YouTuber, but I will admit that I've only played maybe half of this mode. Maybe sometime soon I'll actually go and play it. I have heard mixed things about it, but honestly, like, the amount of effort it seems like they did put into this is kind of astonishing, and it seems like it's one of those things that could really like just be worth a one-time playthrough, you know. Maybe I'll make a video on that sometime. Boss battle is pretty self-explanatory. We're on Infinite Warfare now. Basically, it lets you pick whatever boss you want to fight from any of the Infinite Warfare maps, and you can just go fight them right away without having to go do the Easter egg. I don't really think I've ever heard anybody talk about this mode before, but it sounds pretty cool for people who like that kind of thing. Unfortunately, I have not done a single one of these before, and I have no idea how it works. I know, comp, fake fan, I know, yeah. But it looks like you can pick your guns and perks and then just go straight into it, which is pretty cool. This kind of actually seems like a mode that you would see in Cold War, but for some reason it never came back. Everyone knows that Vanguard Zombies launched with a really weird mode that nobody liked. It doesn't really have a name, it's just objectives, I guess. Escort this weird head thing, capture these creepy totem poles, stand on the circles, survive in a room. There's really nothing creative or original here. We got two of these maps, Duran Fong and Terra Maledicta, but when they pivoted due to community backlash and they made normal round-based maps, everyone was ever so slightly happier, but most people completely checked out of this game enough that nobody even cared. People pretty much universally agree that both of these maps are the worst two maps in Zombies history, so don't expect them to ever come back. Modern Warfare 3 isn't finished just yet, but I think we all know that right when that last story mission comes out in Season 5 Reloaded, this mode is getting abandoned so fast. So I thought I'd put it in here too. You see, Modern Warfare Zombies was like an experimental expansion of Outbreak that I actually thought had a lot of promise, but already by Season 2, they dropped the ball and this mode pretty much just got pity updates. Every update is just another story mission with cutscenes that, you know, they probably made all the cutscenes before the game even came out, so they just need a mission to service the cutscene. Quite literally, almost every single piece of content that's been added to this game in the past 4 months is just recycled or reused or something not original. Even the whole mode itself is really just a reworking of DMZ. It's not even its own original thing. And I mean, what makes it worse is that DMZ was free. If this mode was free, I wouldn't complain. I would actually really appreciate this mode if it was part of Warzone. It fits in there really well. But you know, it's not. You had to pay $70 for it, so unfortunately, I'm sure that they're just glad to get rid of this game and we're never gonna see this again. Now, Black Ops 6 isn't out yet, but we know at least one extra mode is coming, and that's the guided Easter egg. Treyarch told us a few weeks after an Easter egg has been solved, they'll be adding a guided mode for players to just go and immediately experience the boss fight and the ending cutscene. We don't really know yet if they're gonna keep this mode around forever, or if it's just a one-time thing, but for the foreseeable future, this is the only future mode coming to Zombies other than Outbreak returning at some point in Black Ops 6. Here's another Zombies video you might as well watch since you stayed this long.